Hey guys, Deva here, and this is my first Descendant video. I don't see many Viessa builds, so I decided to make my own and showcase the one that lets me clear hard mode bosses in solo or duo. I didn't try much solo, but duo it works for sure with a friend. As a free-to-play player, I can guarantee you don't really miss anything out besides hot skins by not playing the game. All the content is clearable with the right build and skill set. Without much further talk, I will go straight up to the Descendant and move on to gear and weapon. This requires one energy activator and one crystallization catalyst, which you get from being level 40 and I think beating the story, the activator, I'm not sure. Crystallization catalyst half your slot usage with the right symbol, and the other extends your capacity up by 20. So for skill modules, I haven't really seen anything worthy. Cold-blooded sounds nice, and I was farming for it yesterday because it will buff your skill damage and decrease skill cost, so it also ups your uptime, right? But I haven't been lucky yet to get it. I will make an update on the build in a week maybe with what has changed. On the orange slot, you really can use whatever is better for you. For example, the maneuver thingy that you can grapple longer or faster or whatever. But it's mostly about getting the extra 10 capacity slots with it. Nimble Finger for fast cooldown, Focus on Chill, which will give your main damage increase on your ice skills. Increased HP in my opinion is mandatory for survivability, else you get one shot and cannot DPS if you're on the floor. Skill expansion will increase the range of your skills. This is huge because not only you can hit Q and V ability from further, but the tornado gets also much bigger, and as you know it has damage over time, so you want the target, especially bosses who move a lot, to stay inside the full duration, so range is super important. The tornado does with this exact setup over 1,000,000 damage per tick. You can try this in the training area. It does a bit less on monsters because they have different defense modifiers probably. It says duration 6 seconds and damage interval 2 seconds. So you're getting 3 ticks and the final explosion tick, which has slightly higher damage. But what if we increase the duration from 6 seconds to 6.1 seconds? I really wanted to try this out. Yes, it will tick an additional time since it reaches the next breakpoint, and on 8.1 it will tick another time probably. So just adding this simple module here, which is just 5% duration increase without any upgrade, it boosts your tornado damage by 33%, because yeah, it's like one additional tick. You have 3 ticks and instead you will have 4, so it's like 33% increase in damage. It's the biggest boost you can get on it besides the chill skill. Also, why am I investing so much in skill damage? Well, I'm so happy that the game shows you the damage distribution statistics and we don't need the damage overlays for now, and where your damage is coming from, so you know where to invest. And as you can see in this picture, mostly the damage portion of your damage will be coming from your skills. Now, of course, this can change a lot in a fight. For example, if you fight a Colossus with ice resistance, for example, here is my first Devour run, which this is hard Devour by the way, which I only did 8 million skill damage, but I still get around 32 to 40 million damage on duo clears. But yeah, I just wanted to help you understand where to invest, so you can adjust the skills yourself. From here on, I'm still a bit in question what's the best for further upgrades. For now, I managed to craft the 3rd crystallizer, which is super easy to get, and add some crit damage and crit rate into the build. But I will try out more if duration is maybe better than crit, like extending it to 8.1 second for 1 additional tick, which is another 25 damage increase on the tornado. But that just increases 1 skill, so I'm really conflicted. It's hard to tell without many tests and runs to see which modules give you the most damage from that point on. So let's quickly go over the weapon I use. Thunder Cage, which is easy to craft. Honestly, not a big fan of the Tamer MG. People simply just look at numbers sometimes and they don't really understand how DPS works, and that's in most games. I see all the YouTubers, 500 DPS, and here, oh my god guys, you won't believe, a 500,000 DPS, oh my god. That's usually complete bullshit, because when you see the videos, they're actually showcasing it against normal bosses that don't even deal damage, so they just tank against it. And you don't really have mobility. So thanks to the SMG's mobility, you're always able to follow the boss around and stick to its weak points. With an MG, you can't really do that, because if it turns into another player and follows him, you're like stuck behind his back, because you're much slower. We can of course swap weapon and go behind him, in front of him. But the thing is, with SMG, you literally never stop shooting. Like, you're non-stop shooting. You don't even need to aim. You can hit fire and shit. So yeah, the DPS uptime on SMGs is better. Don't never look at numbers. Look at what works the best. But of course, maybe it's different for you. If MG works better for you, I don't want to say anything. Go ahead with it. This also requires one energy activator, which you can also farm from the game, and one crystallization catalyst, which you need to craft additionally, because you will have only one from the game. Now, I don't want to go in depth, because most people use around the same setup. So crit rate, crit damage, fire rate, firearms attack, and weak point damage. Additionally, expanded magazines, because you're loading almost half as much, increase your DPS by a lot. I'm waiting to get to level 40 again, so I can use another crystallization catalyst, and my next step is to up the fire rate by halving the cost of another rune. You can really farm the crystal thing is really easy, like 1 per day and enough coupure. If you follow some 300k coupure hour guide, I use as the right land spots with my bunny character, which is the only purpose I use him for, to clear and farm the stuff. For weapon affixes, I recommend attack versus Colossus, crit rate, and 10% firearm attack. And the last one happened to be max increase, but I will take it. Let me explain why you don't need elemental attack. So it's like a 10% damage increase if you use an elemental attack, which okay is quite a bit, but you don't really want to replace firearm attack or crit rate, and you don't really want to switch every time element, because it's super expensive to reroll just one skill. Element really doesn't make any difference, and you can see that on the statistics being around 10% of your damage portion, of your weapon portion, against element weak Colossus even. So it makes a lot of sense to actually max out your normal DPS, which again will give you a 10% increase. So it's the same, it doesn't make any difference. And just use the element enhancement module on your weapon, which then is just a flat out percentage increase on your total raw damage. So yeah, the elemental enhancement modules are actually pretty good, assuming you have slots for them. Just add them and you're good to go from the boss. It's really not that much of a difference. First I thought that element will make a big difference, but when seeing it's just like 1 million out of 10 million damage dealt on the weapon, the 10%, it's like nothing almost. So the module is really all you need against Colossus, you will be fine. I never use secondary, so I have nothing to showcase, like just a pump gun and scout rifle to activate the reactor and stuff like that. Let's move on to gear. Yes, purple will be the best for now, because it's very unlikely to get the perfect legendary one unless you target farm somehow. I prefer tech skill increase because I believe the most damage comes from ice tornadoes, but if it ends up being different, I will switch to the fusion or whatever the other one is. As for modifiers, it really depends what you drop. I haven't gotten the perfect one yet, but as you can see, I can swap around with some, but really anything can benefit you. Tech damage, range, cooldown, damage against Colossus, and so on. I have a few that I swap on with sometimes. As for components, each of them will drop with a specific resistance. So you want to, on every slot, to have max HP and resistance preferably. These are basically your survivability equipment, since they don't really increase damage. I recommend HP because it scales really well with a 200% HP increase module. And yeah, it will give you a lot of survivability. And the resistance, each of them can give you like up to 3,700 or something, which is a lot. It is a lot of resistance. And the hard mode bosses recommend 7k. I have tried 7k by using the resistance module on my character. I don't really see a difference, guys. Like, just leave it at 3k. It maybe is one of those games that it like exponentially goes lower the more defense you add. And Viessa is super mobile with your ice floor, and as an SMG you like don't ever get hit almost. And I've been fine. I won't lie, like I don't want to flex or anything. I'm playing games for over 20 years, 25 years. I'm pretty good at games, so I don't get hit much. But like if you notice that you need the extra resistance for yourself and it's more comfortable for you, go for it. I just don't see why that we need 7k resistance for the hard mode bosses. And yeah, I just want to say that people love to exaggerate in games like this. You don't really need to pay to progress and pay to win. Just watch some guides. The game and the content is clearable, and anything is craftable besides item slots. Like the game is not meant to be finished in a week. It's a lifetime service. You can always come and grind for a new character. You have always something to do. Paying just will make your lighter wallet and give you hot skins, which is not that bad. And yes, I'll probably get the battle pass and the mate skins once I get paid. But yeah, it's up to you. But I can only say that you definitely don't need to pay, and definitely paying does not make much of a difference, because you can't really buy modules, right? You can just buy the characters. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video and my explanation of the synergies, and not only helps you understand the game better, but as well suits you up to make your own builds in the future. So you can use this build as a base, and since you have more understanding now, you can make your own builds. With that said, have a nice day and happy gaming, guys.